Hello, third grade, and welcome to our first lesson on addition. We're going to continue looking at addition for the next couple of lessons. Please make sure that you are either in your book or you are on Classkick following along. Let's go ahead and get started. So it says Jason's family drove from Niagara Falls to Albany. They drove 119 miles in the morning and 187 miles in the afternoon. How far did Jason's family drive? First, let's circle our important numbers. Again, follow along with me. 119 miles and 187 miles. Now, I don't see an addition keyword in here, so there's nothing I have to box, but I'll underline my question. How far did Jason's family drive? So it looks like it's looking for a total. Whenever my problem is looking for a total, the total amount that they drove, that is an addition problem. Write that out on the side, the word total, and then the addition sign. Now they are using the strategy of rounding to help them estimate where it should be. So before I even answer 119 plus 187, I'm going to try to estimate and think of what it might be closest to in hundreds. So 119, if I rounded down, that would become 100. Please write that out. And if I rounded 187 to the nearest hundred, that would round to 200. So I can guess 100 plus 200 is about 300. So I know whatever my answer is, it will be close to 300. But now we have to find the exact number. So now that I have an idea of what it might be or what it's going to be close to, I can line up the place values. So 119 plus 187. Both of these numbers we call add-ins. Write that on the top. The two numbers we add together are called add-ins. Now when we're adding, we add by the place values. So we add 9 and 7 to get 16. Now that's another way of saying 110 and 6 ones. So I need to keep the 6 in the ones place and the 1 in the tens place. That's why I carry the 1. Then when I move on to step 2, I have the number 10. That one, the value of that 1 is not just 1, it's actually 10. And then the value of this 8 isn't just an 8, it's actually 80. So it's really 110 plus 110 plus 8 tens. 10 plus 10 plus 8. And that equals 100. 1 plus 1 plus 8 equals 10. I carry the 1. That's called regrouping when I give it to the next place value. And I drop down the 0. Then in step 3, I can add all 3 hundreds. 100 plus 100 plus 100 is 300. So remember, we estimated that it would be around 300, and it's 306. So that is really close. So that is a reasonable answer. So earlier this year, we learned how to use place values to help us understand what numbers are meaning. So this 9 is a 9, this 1 is a 10, this 1 is 100. You can use those to help you add. Let's move on to the next page. Do you understand? Please make sure you are on the same page. Sue scored 236 points during the first half of her basketball season. She scored 285 points during the second half. How many points did she score in the entire season? If she's scoring something the entire season, that is a total. I'm adding things up to find a total. Circle your numbers and what they mean. Underline your question. Now first we're going to estimate by rounding. We're going to estimate by rounding to see what our answer should be close to. When we are rounding, we find the place and look next door. 5 and above, give it a shove. 4 and below, let it go. Now I'm going to estimate to the nearest 100. So the nearest 100, if I counted down, would be 200. And my nearest 100, if I counted up, would be 300. So I find the place, I'm rounding to my hundreds place, and I look next door. Is that 5 and above, give it a shove, or 4 and below, let it go? It's below 4, so I'd let it go, and it would stay at 200. We'll do the same for 285. If I rounded down 100, that would be 200. If I rounded up 100, that would be 300. Again, I'll find the place and look next door. Is that 5 and above? Give it a shove, or 4 and below? Let it go. That's 5 and above. Give it a shove, so that's 300. Now we can probably estimate. Estimate is another name for guess what our amount of points might be. So 200 plus 300 is 500. So when I answer, I'm looking for something that's close to 500. If it's not close to 500, then I need to add again. Let's line up our place values and add them together. Six plus 5 is 11. I know because 5 plus 5 is 10. And 1 more is 11. So I'm going to zip up 9. I'm going to bring it next door and leave the other one on the floor. That's called regrouping. Then I can add 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 8 is 12. Carry the next door, drop the other one on the floor. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. I'm close to 500. This is 521. So I'm going to say that I added correctly. That is my check by checking with my estimate. We are not going to do number 2. Let's move on to some practice. Now we have some missing numbers on this side. Make sure that you had all of that written out. If you need to rewind or pause, you can do that. So first we have to estimate by rounding to the nearest 10, then find each sum. You may use place value blocks or drawing to help. So we'll look at number 3 first. And I'm going to estimate. Now on yours, this is the same way I want you to estimate. We're going to estimate in yellow. No, let's use green. We're going to estimate in green. And we'll estimate by the nearest 100. So I know that 126 rounds to 100. It's closer to 100 than 200. And 171 rounds to 200, closer to 200 than 100. 100 plus 200 is 300. So whatever my answer is should be close to 300. 6 plus 1 is 7. And 7 plus 2 is 9. 297 is really close to 300. So that is my check. We can use estimating to help us check. Make sure you're writing these out along with me. Number 4. 8 plus 9. Well, I know 9 plus 1 is 10. And if I take 1 away from 8, here, I'll write this out. So if I take 1 away from 8, that's 7, and that makes that a 10. And 7 plus 10 is 17. Carry the 1. Drop the other on the floor. One plus 3 is 4, and 4 plus 2 more is 6. 5 plus 4 is 9. Now I'm going to go backwards for this one. I have found my answer. Now I'm going to check with estimating. So 538 rounded to the nearest 100. Looking at this one, that would round it to 500 because it is 4 and below. If I rounded 400 to the nearest hundreds, that would stay at 400. So I know my answer is going to be somewhere around 900, and it is 967. So I checked with estimating. Make sure you wrote all that down. Moving to number 5. This time I'm going to estimate first. 400 rounded to the nearest 100. Find the place. Look next door, 4 and below. Let it go so it would stay at 400. And 168. Find the place, 5 and above, give it a shove, so that would change to 200. 200 plus 400 is 600. So my answer should be close to 600. That's how I can do a quick check. 5 plus 8 is 13. Carry the 1, drop the 3. 1 plus 1 is 2, and 2 plus 6 is 8. And 4 plus 1 is 5. 586 is close to 600, so I can give that a check. Make sure you have that written down. And we are going to skip number 6. Your assignment today is to complete all of the odd numbered problems that are circled. These bottom ones you will have to line up by the place value. For example, you would not write 582 and then 230 because your tens places and your hundreds places are not lined up. You have to make sure that you line up the place value when you are writing it. If you want to do this in your worksheet and then upload it, you may do that as well. Once you are finished with all of these 6 problems, you are complete with your math skill for today.